It'll show up. There we go. Katie King, welcome to our show today. Thank you for taking your time. You are based out of UK right now, about you just mentioned a few minutes outside of London. What time is it there?
So what is it here? It's just after 6 p.m. in the evening. Thank you, Azhar. Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here. Greetings from London, but actually I'm a Londoner, but I'm from the countryside the last couple of years, so I kind of
Yes.
span both. But greetings from the UK to all your listeners.
That's a very interesting story. We're going to get to that part as well, Katie. But just before we move any further, I would like to give a brief introduction about Katie. She's been doing business consulting for the last 30 years. She's been running her own digital marketing agency as well. So she's definitely a great person to be talking to because we're all agency owners here. She's the CEO of her consulting businesses, CEO at AI in business. So, that's going to be something amazing for us to get that perspective of how our businesses are going to change, what kind of people we're going to need to hire over the next 2, 3, 5 years, maybe. Katie's been voted top 20 women in AI, and she's an international keynote speaker, multiple books published. So it's an amazing resume, I must say, Katie.
Thank
Um,
you.
what led you to do all of these things? What's your starting point in this journey?
That's a really good question. Starting point is a very working class part of North London. Any listeners that know Tottenham Hotspur, the football team, that's my team. So I grew up in North London. I'm an only child. My parents were incredible, didn't have any money, but really, really supportive. Anyway, fast forward, I did a degree in languages, I did a master's, an MBA, and I landed my first job in marketing. And it kind of went from there. And I've stayed my whole, so far, 30-year career in the marketing space. 15 years were with other people's agencies, a very big one, which listed on the London Stock Exchange,
Okay.
called Next 15 Group PLC, which is global. 25 years with Microsoft, the agency had, and loads of big tech brands we supported. So I did many, many years there, but I've spent the past 15 years as an agency owner. So, like your listeners, running my own digital marketing agency, which I'm 56, until I turned 50, I had quite a number of staff. And I was on a trajectory to potentially sell it and so on, and had, you know, small, but 10 people. Now it's much smaller than that. Didn't quite get the sale, decided to go down the path of AI. So I've written two books, as you said, on AI, but I'm still an agency owner, but it's small. But I've
So
come at major, small, and medium, so I can kind of like talk to all your different
that's
demographics of agencies.
that's a very interesting story. You obviously understand the plight of the agency owner. The things that we go through. You've grown your agency.
Mm.
You've scaled back your agency. So lots of those things. So tell me a little bit about so some of these clients you work with, Katie. A lot of us agency owners, we're kind of doing our different 9 to 5. Some in marketing, some maybe not. Some maybe in the niches that we're supporting right now. You come from a background where you're working for this big agency who's supporting these Fortune
Yeah.
500 brands. And so how is that like working with these big brand names? Because a lot of our clients, they're supporting these like them. For example, we have a client called Firegang Dental Marketing, and they're supporting
Mm.
dentists across the US. So
Yeah.
so they're supporting these small dental clinics
Yeah.
across. So how is that relevant when you're working with these big brands, and then when you're running your own agency? I'm not sure what type of clients you have, but most of our clients, they're working with small
Smaller. Mm.
businesses.
Yeah,
What's
I mean, so I worked for an agency that had some of the biggest brands in the world, like you just said, like Microsoft. We created a sister brand for Apple called Byte Communications, but also new business came from small and medium-sized enterprises who wanted to feed and be on the coattails of the bigger brands. So we used to get a lot of business for smaller teams in our agency that were the less well known, lots of startups. So
mm,
even when I was in other people's agencies, like the one I mentioned, Tex 100, we still had a lot of smaller organizations. Now, and for the last 12, 15 years running my own agency, I've worked for individuals. I coach
mm,
CEOs. I run it for small recruitment businesses of 5 staff, two
mm,
staff. Um,
mm,
at the end of the day, it's knowing your strategy. How can I support you with your go to market strategy? Whether
mm,
that's about, multinational, global exits on stock exchanges, or whether that's simply staying afloat, hiring, attracting some new business, you need to know your strategy. So it's
mm,
about strategic marketing. And then it's also about all of the disciplines. So you hone your trade, don't you?
mm,
When you're younger, and over the years you keep developing and honing that. But I think because I've been traditional marketing, digital marketing, and now AI based marketing,
mm,
each 10 years it
mm,
feels like, I'm on this continuous journey of learning. And
mm.
even with AI, up until a few months back, we didn't really have ChatGPT, so it's constant. So
Yeah,
I don't think it matters. Sometimes the smaller clients are more demanding than the big clients who
yeah,
have massive budgets.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
their money, it's the back their pocket.
I
So,
think that's a
I,
universal truth, isn't
I've
it?
found my smallest clients have often been my most demanding.
More
But
challenging for sure.
yeah, because it's
That's a
their
great.
money. It's their money.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree with you there, and it is across the board. Whether you're working inside US, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The smaller clients, it's obviously they're closer to the action. They want to be involved in the decision making that the marketing team is making for them. And when you get a little bit bigger, then you get your teams in place, and other people are responsible for
Yeah.
the budgets that you have. So you get a little bit more relaxed, but I get that for sure, and that's the difference, right? I think that's a great point you made, that as agency owners, we need to be considerate of that, where
Yes.
the type of clients we're working with, because if somebody is being more demanding, is just because they're ready to get to that level. They're working with you because they want to get
Mm.
to that level, but at this point they may need a little bit more attention and more hand holding
Exactly.
versus bigger
But the
clients.
exciting thing for staff joining, working for a client like that, is actually just like my very small team working with me, you get access to the owner manager. You get to do
Yeah,
really exciting strategic things. So I think,
yeah.
if you're working for a small agency, that's the case. Or if you're going in and working for a client who doesn't have a massive staff, you get to see everything from the investment, the invoicing, the strategic social content management. So I think it can be quite exciting working,
And
for a
that's, and
range
also
of
that
different
that would
clients.
attract the right type of person as well, right? Because not everybody would be so much risk averse there, where they would want to go and work for a smaller agency, and they'd be seen. Maybe other people, they don't want to take that much risk, and they'd be
Yeah.
like, I want more cushier job. But other people who can see the vision that you have as an agent, smaller agency owner, they
Mm,
can come behind. And I feel that there, in such type of agencies, the opportunity for growth are much higher, right? Like because
agree.
we work with agencies who are 3 to 5 people starting out at, and usually less than 50 employees. And the opportunities that these agencies have, it's just tremendous. The
It
people,
is. Yeah.
they grow like Katie, like you'd be surprised, like 3 months in, 6 months in, they got a new role, they're getting promoted. They got 6 months in, they got a small team. 1 year in, they got a team of
Yeah.
10 people they're managing, right? You won't get this
Agree.
opportunity in a bigger organization, right? So it's
And you
definitely
might get the opportunity if you're loyal, if you perform, for equity and so on. So I just think my daughter works for a London based small agency, under 30 staff. She's been doing it for about 4 years. And the chances to keep growing and evolving, and the trust that they put in you is incredible. So yeah, I
Much
could
higher.
see benefits of all the different sizes, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah.
Pros and
Okay, so,
cons.
so let's talk about how did you. So you've been working in marketing agencies, big companies, and then you started your own agency, and you've been running your agency for what about last 15
Since
years now?
2010, yeah, since 2010, so 13
Okay.
years, yeah.
Okay. So now, what made you pivot towards AI, and how is that interlinked to
Mm.
us agency owners?
So you're getting a feel already from my openness, and I've already told you how old I am. It's kind of where you need a USP, don't you? You need to be marketing yourself in a way that gives you an edge. And so obviously years ago it was different. I had an MBA, I had experience, I had personality, and I was strategic. That was all great then. Then I saw digital, and I was
Mm.
really ahead of the curve with digital when everybody was right, "Oh, what's this fad? What's this Facebook? What's this?" Very skeptical.
Yeah.
And so I was very much ahead of the pack and did TEDx talks and all kinds of exciting things around digital. And then I turned 50. Agency owners were half my age. And
Mm.
I moved out of London. So not only
Mm.
did I have age against me, I was no longer where the action was. And I wanted to still be ahead of the pack. And I foresaw that this technology, and this is going back about 8 years, was coming, and it was going to revolutionize marketing and PR and comms and sales and CX in particular.
This is way
So,
before Chat GPT.
oh, years before. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I had
Okay.
done a small project with a client, which was a chartered surveyor type organization. And we wrote a white paper on AI in the built environment. So I got my hands dirty with it there. And then I thought, wow, this could be exciting for me. And I've always wanted to write a book. Maybe we'll discuss that a bit more later. A novel. And then I thought business book. So then wrote book one, 2019, book two last year. And it's kind of gone from there. So AI, truthfully, was my way of differentiating my agency, keeping me in business, having an edge, fulfilling my need to be an author, etc.
Amazing. So, like, so if I'm an agency owner today, where and servicing mainly maybe small businesses, and I have a team of under 20 people, like, where are those strategic advantages in AI that I can be using, implementing today, maybe,
Mm,
and pass those um, that marketing edge over to my clients? Like, how could I
yeah.
be implementing AI inside my agency today?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of factors within that, aren't there? So if we think about it as every agency, just like every company, needs to do HR, needs to do some finance, needs to do some sales, needs to do some marketing. So if you're
Mm.
actually doing your own marketing of the agency, let alone the services you offer to clients,
Mhm.
then you can use tools to paradoxically be much, much more personal. So
Mm.
actually, you can use the AI is really big data. So artificial intelligence makes people feel like it's scary, whereas augmented intelligence means big data. So the
Mhm.
AI, through tools like Phrasey, Concured, and now we've got Microsoft Copilot, and hundreds and thousands of others on the market. Uh,
Mhm.
Not ChatGPT, we'll come on to that in a moment, but these tools enable you to really understand in detail who buys from you, who is the ideal customer, how can you personalize through sales, through marketing, the way you market to those people. So
Mhm.
getting really granular about the way you do your own marketing.
Mhm.
That's one of the big benefits. So, as an agency, you're constantly having to think about retaining your clients, growing your clients, and attracting new ones. And
Yeah.
there are numerous AI in marketing tools that can help you do that sales and marketing. That's one thing. And
Okay.
then you're thinking about, as an agency, you've got to constantly be ahead of the pack. You've got to think about your profitability. And if you can do the things that you do for your clients better and more profitably, like content management,
Mm-hmm.
through a tool like Jasper AI copywriting, or even ChatGPT or Bard or all of the others that are coming onto the market. You can free up some of your team's time. In
Mm-hmm.
the early days, they might take a good few hours to write a good blog,
Yeah.
from researching it, writing it, iterating it, getting approved. And so there are tools, and I don't just mean ChatGPT, that are helping you do your job better. You
Mm-hmm.
can't let it take away from the human doing it, but it might give you a 75% draft that then you top and tail and make your
Yeah.
own and give it your style and so on. So there are those kinds of tools. Brandwatch, Mailchimp, many of the tools that we use to do our CRM, our marketing, our social media now
Mm.
have AI elements within them. So I
Yeah.
think it's about, you might not want to be risky to the point where you are the absolute innovator, but you
Mm.
can't afford to be a laggard. So you
Yeah.
are kind of maybe in that middle to high end of, you know, demonstrating to your clients and to prospective staff that you want to hire that you're a
Mm.
progressive outfit
Yeah.
that is competing on price and able to do amazing work. And AI
Yeah.
tools can help you do that.
I think that's you really really explained this in detail. If I have to summarize this, I think where this AI is coming in, it's helping us do our jobs as agency owners a lot better by granulizing things a lot
Yeah.
more, because the thing, think of it that the article that used to take a regular article copywriter maybe 5-6 hours for maybe an entire day, is now taking maybe 2 hours to get to that 75% mark. And now they can be churning out more content.
Yeah,
And the
absolutely.
other tools that you mentioned, we can get more, because it's all about being more specific, right? Like every piece of content that you put out there, if it can connect granularly to your target audience, before we didn't have that time. Now
Agree.
all of a sudden, we all of a sudden just think about. I give this example a lot, that the self-driving cars, when they're there, you taking a drive from your country home to London, you could probably, if it's a 60-minute drive, you could be doing something extra in
Yeah,
that 60 minutes, right?
absolutely.
So
Good example. Really good
it's helping
example.
us cut down on the time we were spending on other things before. Now it's being done for us, but that doesn't mean that your job is going away. That means that
Absolutely.
now your job is going to shift a little bit, and you're going to get
Yeah,
more granular. You're going to be able to target more smaller pockets of your target audiences and do a better job at marketing, I think.
absolutely. So the banks that I interviewed for my books, the retailers I interviewed for my books all say this. They say years ago we used to treat our client base in a very homogenous way, a
Yeah.
very group mass. Now we can say no longer, Azhar, X age, uh, you know, 50, whatever, 35 to 40, whatever the age group might be, we can say he comes into my restaurant or to my bank, he orders this is his preference. And I can tailor my marketing to you,
Yeah.
I can tailor my customer service to you, and so on. And if you give me consent to use your data, then
Mhm.
I can offer you all kinds of incentives and personalized journey through my website, etc. So
Yeah.
yeah, it is about that mass personalization,
And
which for new business development is huge, and for the kind of services you offer adds a new exciting edge to it.
yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree. So just to recap, Katie, what are the main essential tools that you think that a smaller digital marketing agency should be using in today's day and age?
The interesting thing, Azhar, is it is changing, So
Mhm.
one of the problems I've always identified is that I list all these vendors and all these tools. So you've got the big players, the Googles, the Adobe, Sensei, Microsoft, and so on. And then you've got all these thousands of point to point tools that get invested in because
Mm.
now AI is viable. And I
Mm.
mentioned Phrasey and Concured and um, Jasper. But then
Yeah.
month ago, Microsoft launched Copilot with Microsoft 365, which
Mm.
brings AI into Word, PowerPoint, Teams, etc. And then
Mm.
all of a sudden, we've got the explosion of all of the generative AI tools. So
Mm.
each kind of day and week and month, new tools are coming onto the market. So I can advise from I'm recommending you do your due diligence. You have a watching brief on your industry, on the
Mm.
vendors, on the competition. So you've got to kind of keep up with this.
Mm.
And let's take ChatGPT. You can't afford to ignore it because it's incredible, but you've got
Mm.
to learn how to brief it properly.
Yeah.
And you've got to trust that it isn't going to be totally accurate and that its data only takes you to autumn 2021.
Yeah.
But you could feed it and say, write me a 600-word blog on um, success in digital marketing in Canada,
Mm.
quote this chamber of commerce, write it in the tone of a university professor, make
Yeah.
sure that you quote the Financial Times. You can't just sort of say, oh, give me a 600-word blog.
Yeah.
Just like if you were briefing a new account manager,
Yeah.
you do the same.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's my that that's my cocker spaniel. Let me just sorry, let me just pause the audio for one
Sure,
second.
sure. That's funny. So I think, yeah, Katie's making such amazing points, right? Like there are tools out there that we should be using, but these tools are constantly evolving. So A, stay ahead of the curve, figure out which tools are going to work for your agency. And then B, when you do use the tools, you just can't say that, oh, Jasper didn't work out for me or ChatGPT didn't work out for me because you didn't use it properly. You need to be able to communicate to these tools. And just like
Absolutely.
how Katie explained it to us, learn how to talk to these tools and then they'll talk back to you. So, what a great,
Absolutely,
amazing
absolutely.
insight.
Yeah, totally. So, yeah, it's thinking about, like I said, even in HR, there are tools now to help you sift CVs, and various players are using chatbots to have interactive activity with the people that you're potentially looking to hire. How do
Mm-hmm.
you want to differentiate your agency from another that you compete with? You've got to demonstrate that you use the latest tools and that you are
Mm.
the right agency to work for because you're
Attractive.
progressive and that this is going to help them build their careers and so on.
Yeah, attracting the right type of people. And then just last question for you, Katie, is how do you see the type of roles that we hire inside an agency, like account managers, the sales development reps, the marketing associates in different tracks? How do you see some of these main jobs evolve as we, start using AI more and more?
That's a really good question, Azhar, because these are not these are not AIs that are like your general artificial intelligence that come in the form of a robot that replace anybody. Not yet,
Yeah.
and hopefully not for
People
if
are
ever.
afraid of that though.
Yeah,
They're like,
pardon?
I'm not. I'm if they're a content writer, they're like, I'm not gonna have a job anymore because Chat GPT is around, right?
Well, yeah. So what I was going to come on to is that you're not talking about something that's human-like but robotic, taking able to do all the things you can do. That's not what we're talking about. But we
Mm,
are saying that the AIs could replace a human being that isn't using AI to do their job better. So we
mm,
all need, as agency heads and as individuals in agencies and in house, we've got to upgrade and change the way that we do the tasks that we do. Some more
mm,
strategic, some quite tactical. And that's the same operationally in every industry sector, from teachers, barristers, medical doctors. But in the marketing profession, it's fundamental. So everybody in marketing, in sales, in account execs, account managers has got to be able to use these tools. Now they don't require you to be really technical.
mm,
You don't need an AI degree, you don't need a
mm,
data science degree, but you do need to get data. it helps that you have an ability to deal with data. And by that
Mm,
I mean, you might be kind of more creative. You don't have to be learning data science by any shape of the imagination, but you
mm,
are going to be fed more and more data, and you need to be able to analyze,
mm,
because what we need to do with the data, all these insights that tell us and our clients how things are moving, who we need to invest in, which sort of type of feedback we're getting about our customer base, we've got to be able to make decisions based on that. So
mm,
for me, it's very exciting because I think it flattens hierarchies. Because
mm,
what it means, I've worked in agencies, sometimes for like 8 to 10 years at a time, and I've seen hierarchies, and I've seen someone get promoted above me because I was on maternity leave, or all
mhm.
kinds of interesting things happen. But
Yeah.
but what you don't now have to do is wait 5, 10 years till you've got grey hair and gravitas to be
Mm,
strategic, because
yeah.
the tools give you the strategic edge. But
Yeah.
equally, it doesn't mean that someone coming in with a marketing degree that's done a module in AI is
Yeah.
necessarily better than someone like me who's 30 years older than them, because
Yeah.
I might be just as current. Because all
Mm.
of us, each day,
Which
each
you
week,
are.
we're all learning all the time. So it
Yeah.
doesn't mean young means better than old. It
Mm.
means the opportunity's there for those that invest in themselves, and it's for their agencies to invest in them. But
The
I think
playing
it
field
makes
has leveled
the
out for
hierarchy,
everyone. Yeah.
and all of us will need to use the tool. So what a CTO or a, say, the IT person in an agency, because we don't all have CTOs, but what a IT tech person does, and what a chief marketing officer or the marketing manager in the agency does, kind of morphs in a little bit to each other. So
Mm.
we've got to be able to kind of like juggle different things and be aware of the impact of AI on marketing, which actually can be quite technical.
Yeah.
But we don't
Yeah.
need to know how it works. A bit like our iPhones, we don't need to know how our iPhone works technically, but we need to learn, how do I do this with it? How do I use that
We
app?
need
How
to
do I
be able
make
to use it. Yeah, and I
so
think
it's
that
a quite an interesting kind of set of parameters really
yeah,
for
very well said.
hiring.
And for the people who are willing to invest the time to learn these tools, I think they can cut their journeys short, and they can work at a level of a CTO if they wanted to, with the data that they have available right now, and
Absolutely.
doing their jobs better. Now all of a sudden they've bought back some of their time, so now they can be more granular. Whatever job that they're doing,
Exactly.
they can connect with. If it's an account manager, they can connect better with their clients. Before, they were dealing with 30 clients and they were have to go through everything themselves.
Mm,
Now they may have everything ready for them, and now they can jump on more phone calls. So it's the opportunities are just
exactly.
limitless, right?
It's
But
huge.
you
It's
have to
huge. It's
realize.
overwhelming. It's overwhelming as well. And
Yeah.
people kind of go, "Well, where do I start?" But I guess for me, mass personalization, but also take away the finger in the air guesswork. The
Hmm.
AI should give you more certainty
Yeah.
that what you're doing is right.
More
And
database based
yeah,
decision making.
insights,
Hmm.
analytics. That's, I
Yeah.
guess, at the heart of
Yeah.
big data, is really
I'll give you
about,
an example, and what we recently did was, we to, we have over 200 employees right now, and we wanted to do an amazing uh, pay increase for all of our people. And what we were able to do, Katie, was so amazing that because we had all these data points available to us, we were able to see, like, do we just go and do a 10% or 20% or 30% pay raises, or should we strategically do a pay raise, come up with a new pay scale, which is going to help us reduce costs in these three specific
mm,
areas? And before, like, this would not have been possible, but our chief financial officer, who's my brother, and our director of finance, these guys came up with this amazing formula
mm,
where if you're performing well and if you're doing a great job, we're going live with this pay structure on May 1st, and 95% of our people are going to get instant pay raises.
mate.
And not only that, they're going to be able to look, uh, 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, and 3 years, and 5 years in the future, and they'll be able to see, if I continue on this path, this is how much I'll be making in 1 year, or 2 years, and 3 years. We
And
could not
that's
have
very
done this.
motivational, isn't it? That's really motivational and very democratic as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I love that. That's a great example. And that's what I
So
was saying at the beginning. And it isn't all AI. Let's not pretend it's all AI. Analytics,
yeah,
various tools are allowing you to understand that. And that's in finance. Other tools are letting you do that in your HR. We're able to do it for the marketing of the agency. And as an agency, we're doing digital marketing for clients. And the
yeah.
AI is like the equivalent of software as a service tools a few years back. New raft of tools that enable us to do this really, really well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No, I think that's what a great learning experience, Katie. I think I'm gonna want to learn more. So, how do I order your books?
So if you look at the website, aiinbusiness.co.uk, there's a whole section there on both my books. So I can provide you with a link with a 20% discount code to any of your listeners if they want to get that
Perfect.
through the podcast. So if
We'll
anyone
add
wants to
that
buy
to
the
our.
book, they can. Equally, they can connect with me on the AI in Business. You'll see all of the links to connect with me on LinkedIn, etc., etc. So yeah, really happy to connect with people, spread the word. I'm living and breathing this every day for paying clients.
Mhm.
But equally, I do the books, I do keynotes, I do training as well. So it's
That's
given
amazing.
me a new revenue source, which is what we're all trying to do ultimately, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. It's such a great learning experience, Katie. We'll definitely be ordering some books. We'll post the link in the description in the podcast on YouTube and Facebook. And we'll look forward to having this amazing, filled with learning communication sometime in the future, real soon. Thank you for being on the show, Katie. I think
My
this is going to
pleasure.
be helpful for a
My
lot of
pleasure.
people.
Thank you very much. Thank you to
Have a
everyone
great,
listening as well.
have a great night, Katie.
You too.